Podcast.
Hey guys, we're just going to jump right into it. We got Oscar Gracey here because so many of you requested Oscar to come on and break down Taylor Swift's Midnight's album. We were just talking before getting, hitting record about all the different breakdowns we've done with Oscar. We did skip Evermore, and that's because Evermore is my least favorite Taylor album of all time.
Oh, really?
Is that a collective yes? Is that a collective yes?
Not for me. I think Folklore and Evermore are some of her best art, some of the best art she's put out.
I'm not bringing Folklore into this. Folklore's fantastic.
No, I'm saying that
I
sound,
didn't like Evermore.
that sound in general.
It's hard.
Okay,
I listen to Evermore maybe the least, but it's not my least favorite, if that makes sense.
Do you feel like our least favorites are now becoming the original Taylor Swift album and such, because they're just it's basically like a totally different artist?
By default, I feel like and lyrically she's come such a long way too. But I feel like Taylor's version is gonna really remind the girls why she was the hot country girl on the scene at just 16 years old. Our song's still a banger, so I think once that comes out, it's gonna really reignite me on that album.
Yeah, everyone's gonna I most resonate. I said this when we did the breakdown for Folklore with Country Taylor, and that's why I loved Betty the most on that song. And so I love what she's doing now. I love that her and Jack Antonoff are collaborating. I think they're great collaborators.
They always collaborate. This is the how many zillionth time?
Yeah.
How many? Since 1989. Because he did Out of the Woods.
Wow.
I was going to say 1980. I don't think she's come out with a pop album that has been as good as 1989.
I think Midnight's rivals it, to be honest.
Do you really? Okay, so I love Midnight's. I think lyrics are incredible, but it's very cohesive, like an Ariana Grande album where a lot of the songs sound similar to me. And I don't feel like there's one song on there that I'm like, this is the banger. I love Antihero. I love High Infidelity. And I love those songs, but there's no Shake It Off or Blank Space sort of big commercial.
I think Bejeweled is Blank Space.
Bejeweled? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe even Karma.
I want to preface what Naz is saying by you have only listened to it a time or two, right?
Yeah, I haven't listened to it more than once.
Because I feel like every album sounds like that until you start listening to it multiple times.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that.
Oscar, how many times have you listened to it now?
Oh my God, so many. My problem is that I hyper fixate on one song at a time. So I will go through a phase of listening to just one song, literally on repeat, no exaggeration, for days. Right now it's Antihero, just on repeat.
So good.
And I can't stop. I don't know. This album, what I love about
You're the problem. You're the problem.
It's me. Yeah.
It's me.
I love this album though, because it feels like this combination of all her past eras. Actually, I came up with a theory today, and it's exclusive just for you guys, and I think it's really good. I think this album is, especially with the tour, celebrating her eras. It's all the songs are from different parts of her life, as an adult reflecting on her different relationships and the things that inspired the past albums. So I feel like this album is kind of a combination of all the things that we loved about her other albums. And she's kind of repurposing it into this current sound and the style that she's at right now. So I think that's why I really, really love it. Because there's a little bit of Reputation. There's a little bit of Folklore Evermore. There's a little bit of Speak Now. And it's all there lyrically.
Yeah.
I love that you say that, because Vigilante shit is very Reputation-esque.
Yeah.
And you're right.
And
it
Karma.
is a combination.
Yeah.
Shall we dive in?
My initial takeaway was that this was sounding like it was written during the Reputation era. But then she didn't want to continue the Reputation era with the next album. That these may have been leftovers. Not so much leftovers, but ideas that she just fully formed. And then I said this to my friend who is a total Taylor Swift expert, and she was like, no, it's a little bit of every album. Each song kind of symbolizes every album. all together, which is why it's called Eras.
Yeah, that's literally exactly what I was thinking too. And I think that like, I'm sure in the re-recording process, it brings back like the feelings or just like having to relive like the memories of what inspired these songs.
Yeah.
Makes you like look back at like those experiences as an adult and be like, oh, actually that was really messed up that this person did this to me. And it kind of like re-puts you in that situation and makes you look at it differently, which I think that's why I love it so much. Cause it's like, it's like literally us growing up with her, but then also like we're looking back at how we related to like should have said no, like white horse, like all these things. Like wow, like what the hell was I going through at 15? You know?
Right. It's
so true.
Yeah, and you look back and you're like, you're always looking at everything. You can never look at the past through that exact moment. You can only look at it through the lens of everything you've learned now. You can't unlearn anything.
True. Like
So
if you're thinking like Getaway Car, like if you're thinking of Getaway Car. And she's like probably learned so much and reflected on the entire like relationship in Getaway Car that she may have made a song on this album that we may get to regarding her thoughts on Getaway Car now as a 33-year-old or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to change it up.
So
okay. So do you want to go song to song?
Well, Oscar, should we just go with like what you're resonating with the most and or would you like to do every song? You're our expert. What's better?
I think it's more organized to go song by song. And if we don't have like a lot of thoughts, we can just skip.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Lavender Haze, everyone.
Yes. And Oscar, maybe describe why you think she picked this first, because we all know Taylor is very particular with the order of her songs and what she decides to open her albums with.
Little details of like what means what, if it does mean anything.
Yeah, I think this one, it kind of reminds me almost like a State of Grace, kind of. It's like, it's really ethereal. And I think it kind of encapsulates the album really because it's like, well, you know, she loves color. Like she sees everything in color. And I feel like this really encapsulates like where she's at right now in her life, as far as like, she's kind of at peace with knowing that people are going to write articles about her, and that if she like makes some kind of appearance with Joe Alwyn, like it's going to be written about and people are going to speculate it. So I feel like she's like at peace with that almost. Like she just knows that's part of the job now, but she's not going to like let it get to her anymore. And I think like it's important to remember that she was such like a PR, like people pleaser. Like she loved positive press. And she hated being like associated with a negative headline. But when you get to the bridge and she's like, get it off your chest, but get it off my desk. Like she's not even going to like look at it anymore. Like she doesn't even want her team to like bring that stuff to her. Like she doesn't even want to see it. Which I think is showing like how grown she is, that she doesn't care about that stuff anymore.
I love that reflection, because when you reach Taylor Swift's level of fame, anyone's level of fame, even if you're like an influencer or whatever, you have to come to a point where you're either going to battle that every day and actually care what everyone's saying. And even through all her documentaries, like Taylor's always been someone who really cared what everyone was saying. I mean, that's why Reputation was what it was. Yeah. And so I love that that's like what she started this album with.
So what is the Lavender Haze to her?
It's like for sure just like her relationship with Joe, like being in it and like having someone just like accept her for who she actually is, not like an idea or like what someone expected her to be. Like if you think about like All Too Well, like the 10-minute version, Taylor's version, where she has that one like line that said that Jake kind of thought she was just like a kind of like a sparkly jewel to like reflect him, but she's now like being in a relationship with someone who like it's not like that at all. Like he's just willing to like fully accept her, and the fact that she's like kind of like high off of it, you know, and that still like all these years later, I think like 6 years later, she's still like in the middle of it, you know.
Yeah, so nice. Every time I listen to her albums, I'm like, how does she still think of Joe in this sexy sense?
She wants to ravish him still.
I know.
Stop. That's so sad to me.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
She is, you know, that would be fast. I would kill to sit down and do an interview with her, because I would do a real interview. I wouldn't do a Taylor Swift fan interview where I'd be like, where are the smoke and mirrors?
Barbara Walters style.
Like as a human, you know, like you are the romantic of our generation. Are you at sometimes bored around Joe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and does she have to
yeah.
pull from memory to create these songs? It's kind of like how
I'm wondering if a lot of it's pulled from memory.
John Mayer literally would date people, according to Jessica Simpson's memoir, and like then break up with them in order to feel things, to write songs about it. So it's like a method actor.
Well, I think I've said this on maybe one of our podcasts, one of our Taylor podcasts, that you can go through the history of time. When music artists are single, often their music is better. And then once they stabilize, it gets bland. Yeah. And they just can't get their rhythm again, like literally and figuratively. And I think Justin Timberlake's a really good example of that.
True.
Because think about like the last time he had like a
Mirror
real
was
hit.
Good, and Mirror was obviously about Jessica Biel, and that was
Mirror
his last
was
pop.
but you know what that was about? Mirrors was about him trying to get her back, and the way that he felt about her when they did take a break.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, then that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Anyway, this is not a Justin Timberlake podcast. We can go back.
No, but
to
actually,
this, but like, it's what's so interesting is that Taylor, while in a serious relationship for so long, has been able to even amplify the quality.
Yes, and a testament to her journaling, maybe, and like her ability to write and reflect back and put herself back in something in the past.
Totally.
Because Oprah asked Adele the same question after Adele's concert came out at the. Remember that concert special?
Yeah.
And she's like, you're happy now. You're in a relationship. Like, what's the music going to sound like? You know, it is scary as an artist. So yeah, Taylor's so good at that.
John Mayer made me onto something. All right. So now we're on a Maroon, and I just cannot believe how many like lyrics are in this. Like there's so many words to read. It's like a fucking novel for me.
I know.
And I feel like if I don't memorize a Taylor song within 1 week, like every word is just coming out, I feel so defeated. I feel like I'm a terrible person.
I feel like a failure, but they're so hard.
So this song is so many lyrics. I just feel terrible. Okay, Oscar, what do you have to say about Maroon?
Again, I love that it's like right after Lavender Haze, because again, it's like color, right? And so it's kind of like the like almost obviously like lavender is kind of a mix of like blue and red. And I know she thought about this stuff too because she's sick. So it's like lavender, you have like the mix of both, right? And then you going back to like maroon, it's like a deeper red, so that's how she's seeing the relationship. I honestly think again I could be wrong, but I honestly get like Joe Alwyn vibes, like her those moments where like she doubted like the relationship or got insecure about it, and like put distance between the relationship. But still like
because she said I was the one dancing with you in New York. Whenever I hear New York, I think it's Joe.
Me too.
And because even like on Lover and Reputation, there was like the love songs in those albums. There was like times where she got like insecure and like pushed him away because she like wasn't ready for it. So like when she talks about like, also I think the biggest giveaway is like the wine stain. Like how many times, like every time she talked about Joe, there's always wine involved.
There's wine falling everywhere. Yeah. It's like a drunk melodream. Maroon's one of my favorites. I just wanted to say that. I really like the way Maroon sounds.
Me too. Absolutely love it.
It's also one of my favorites, yeah. So my friend said that the theory is that Red, the album, the song, that's like a precursor to Maroon. Maroon is her version, not necessarily completely pertaining to Joe, but looking back on the relationship that Red was about, which may supposedly be about Jake. And this is her looking at it through adult eyes.
Love that.
I like that too.
That makes sense. I'm just looking at the lyrics here.
Because now it's like more of like a bruise. Like she doesn't look at it as like red and shiny and like lovey. And now she's like, oh, that was like way darker than I thought it was as a kid.
Yeah. It seems very dark, like shaking and hazy and sobbing and hollowed eyes. Like really, really sad, terrible breakup.
I love when,
that could definitely be about Jake or John.
That's true. I love when she says the word Scarlet in it. I don't know. I just always feel like there's like this witchiness sort of, like revenge, like pitchfork, like, am I wrong for feeling this way kind of sentiment? And I don't know. I always think of the Scarlet Letter whenever she says Scarlet. This is my own.
I like it. I like the different, uses of color again and all blood, scarlet, maroon, wine, everything. So she's got it all going on in here.
Okay.
Love this song.
What's after Maroon?
What is after Maroon?
Anti-hero. Okay,
That's
so
Anti-Hero.
go off, Oscar.
So are we
Gracey.
like annoyed that Anti-Hero is going to be like, it's just like the thing, like everybody like, oh, I'm the problem. Like it's just like a social media thing. Like I love it and I hate it at the same time. I love the song so much, but now people are, you hate it.
No, I love the song. I hate when Taylor releases an album, there's always lyrics and it's everyone's caption. Everyone's making this, everyone's saying the sound. And I'm like, we are imbeciles as a species. And I'm sorry, that's just how I feel.
Exactly.
I don't care if you did it. I think if it brought you joy, then that was correct for you. It is triggering for me.
For sure. I wanted to do it. Like the second time, the first moment I heard the song, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Perfect.
Everyone has
TikTok
the same
stuff.
ideas.
And then everybody had the same idea. And I was like, I guess I won't be using
I
that.
also go to therapy for everyone in life that doesn't go to therapy. So I'm like, yes, welcome to consciousness where, you are the problem. Start taking responsibility for all the issues in your life. We have known this.
Please, people need to know that. But first and foremost, what is altruism?
Isn't that like good stuff that you like the good things that you do?
It's the belief or practice of disinterested and selfless concern for the well-being of others.
Selfless concern for the well-being of others. Okay, so the line is, did you hear my covert narcissism I disguise as altruism, which is the hardest line to sing of all time.
Like some kind of congressman.
It's like basically like stop caring about everyone else.
Do you think that she's calling herself a narcissist who's trying to conceal it by saying that like her goodness is it her, or is she talking about a lot of other people?
I think probably a mix of both, right? Like it's kind of like, I think there's it's kind of like a normal thing to like want to be like a good person and like put yourself on a pedestal of, like I'm a good person. Kind of like, it's kind of like the negative side of karma. That karma is like a really like boastful song, like look how good of a person I am, like it's so fun. But then it's like that this song is like all about the inner demon, so it's kind of like maybe I'm not like that good of a person. Maybe I'm like telling myself I am and that I do all this good stuff, but really it's just because like I'm obsessed with like public image, you know?
I have so many thoughts on just this song is so genius because an anti-hero is like a Batman or a Black Adam. It's someone who is doing something that they believe is right to bring justice to something, but maybe in a manner that other people disagree with. Like Batman, like kills people, but he's a superhero, you know? Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, it's to save this. And I believe we are all, everyone says we're the main character of our own life. And I think through this song, Taylor's saying we're all anti-heroes, where we all think we're doing stuff. Like everyone's pretty much self-serving, and that's the way that it should be. And she's sort of calling herself out, you know, by saying like, I disguise it as altruism. And
it's a genius. Like I love like the random kind of like daughter-in-law kills me for the money. Like it's such a random, is it a bridge? I don't know. Maybe bridge. And it's so random, but it's like my favorite part of the song. It's amazing. She's laughing up at us from hell. It's so funny. It's like just saying that she's going to be doing these sneaky little things always, like putting in these little phrases just to like kind of dig at people. And I love it.
Yeah. And the line, I'll stare directly at the sun, but never in the mirror is iconic. Like that's the line everyone should be saying, not I'm the problem, it's me. Because it's like, look in the mirror. We're willing to look at everyone else. We're willing to get blind and literally do the worst thing, which is stare at the sun. Except first look at within yourself in any situation and be like, well, where am I wrong in this? You know?
Mm-hmm. We're all taking different parts of the song and resonating with them differently. Like that's Lauren's part. Like that's your part. My part is the like, the sexy baby. And then she's just like a monster crawling onto her town. And it's just like, I think that for me, it's like, there's always like an influx of new Bachelor people, right? But for some reason, like I just like I'm still here. Am I accepted still? Am I accepted? It's like probably zombie. Just me and Jared going to paradise with all the sexy babies.
That's funny, Ashley.
Whenever I hear the sexy baby, like people think it's so funny because like what the fuck is a sexy baby? You know,
it's a sexy baby. It's like a TikTok star. That's
is it? I think of Mean Girls when she's like, you smell like a baby prostitute.
Yeah. Okay. So sexy babies. Love it.
All right, well, we should move on to the next song.
We have so many to go over.
There's so
and we're
many.
doing, we're covering 3 a.m. version, yes?
Oh, we have to. There's so many in there. Yeah.
That's the only version I know.
Okay.
There's so many. Okay, Snow on the Beach. Do we need to talk about this or no?
I think, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most notably because just the cursing has never been more evident
Yeah.
than it is on this album. So purposeful.
And I mean, this one also, like, again, it's like such an obvious, like, Joe song. And it's kind of similar to like folklore Evermore vibes, like the way that she talks about him.
100%.
Yeah.
Like Long Story Short and like Gold Rush just has like those kind of vibes.
Yes.
My favorite part though is like, I knew the second that she said featuring Lana Del Rey, I knew what we were in for, but people were so excited to hear Lana and Taylor on a song. But I knew every time she has a female artist on a song, besides like Phoebe Bridgers, I guess, it's going to be like background vocals. Since Fearless with Colby Calais. Like, it's literally always been that. So it was really funny seeing people like be really upset about it. Like,
and I'm like, I wish we could hear Lana at all. It's like, well, it's Taylor's album.
To be honest, though, I kind of agree. Like, it's like if you're going to feature someone, like, I always think, like, you know how rap artists, they're so good at this. It's like everyone has their own verse.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want a feature to be. Like, Justin Bieber singing Despacito and then having, you know what I mean? Like, the other parts of the song.
I guess she'll only do that with guys. And they don't sound drastically different, honestly. So I feel like it may be in there. But
Lana's like, her voice is unbelievable, though.
I thought because it was Lana too that there was a chance like she would sing a little bit more on it, and I kind of wish she did. I wish she had like her own little, or maybe like at the bridge had her own thing,
like just like an ooh or an ah. But besides Lana being on here, this is just kind of a romantic song for Joe. You think?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like just having something. It reminds me so much of like Long Story Short, like Rare as a Glimmer of a Comet in the Sky. Like it kind of has that vibe of like just like having this like happenstance, this like kind of like miracle from nature kind of vibes, which is how she sees it, which is really sweet. Like that is the way to like describe a relationship, you know, like
so true.
It's so sweet.
It's weird but fucking beautiful, which is why I love this song, because Taylor's one thing she's a master at is imagery, and like if you listen to this in your car, it's like of course I was like picturing her and it's snowing on a beach, and but yeah.
Before you book any lunch or dinner, you go over the list of reviews, right? You look at pictures and all of that. So why don't you do the same thing when you're looking for a doctor's appointment? It's like so silly with ZocDoc, which is something that we love so much. We've talked about here on the podcast. You can see real verified patient reviews and help find the right doctor in your network, in your neighborhood, because finding a doctor honestly is more important than finding the right eggs Benedict, even though, you know, here food is very important to us.
It is. But for me, what's most important for me is ease of booking, because my calendar is literally like trying to figure out Battleship. It's insane. And when you're trying to do that with a doctor, because typically I feel like when you see a doctor, sometimes, most of the time, it's like a timely sort of thing. You're like, I need to go in and see a doctor. And so the fact that you can like look at your calendar and conveniently book an appointment with a doctor that suits your needs, fits your schedule, is in your network, in your neighborhood, is easy. Like, it's literally, this is a no-brainer. If you don't know what ZocDoc is, it's a free app that shows you doctors who are patient reviewed, take your insurance, and are available when you need them.
So you go to ZocDoc.com. That is ZocDoc.com/get-it. And you can download the ZocDoc app for free. Then start your search for a top-rated doctor today. Many available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc, ZocDoc.com/get-it. ZocDoc.com/get-it.
I wanted to ask Oscar a quick question before I forget. Where is Zoe Kravitz in this album? Because she was in a picture.
Yeah, she wrote a couple. I know she did Karma. She co-wrote Karma. I think Lavender Haze and one more.
Like lyrically?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, she co-wrote.
I had no idea.
What an interesting pairing.
Yeah.
I know. It's kind of cool. I feel like this album, she was like chill about it because she just had like, I think whoever she was like hanging out with, she was like, you want to like work on a song, you know?
But it's not even who she's hanging out with. I think she's very particular now since Reputation and Remember Like Bad and all the, and then she's like friends with some people and not. She is very particular with who she surrounds herself with. And if you think about it, Lana and Zoe represent like the hottest, coolest, chillest people in pop culture.
Totally. Yes.
Like the most non-tryhards, just absolutely cool people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the next song is You're on Your Own, Kid. And this I probably maybe have listened to once or twice. I don't know why it doesn't resonate with me.
I also am looking at all the track names, and I'm like, this one, I don't really know what it's about. And
I love this song.
I like it.
I'm
I like
sorry,
it.
Oscar, to
love
disappoint you.
No, I like it. But just like, is there something to really break down here?
I feel like this
Yeah, I
song,
think so.
yeah, this one is like, well, it's a track 5, so obviously, like, it means a lot to her. And then I think, like, this
Wait,
one,
what? Why track 5 mean
track
a lot?
5 on every album
Why would a
is
track 5
always
mean a
like
lot?
the
one?
song, like White Horse, Dear
Delicate.
John, Delicate,
Right? Was
yeah,
Delicate 5?
yeah.
All Too Well was
So
5.
she always puts like the like her most emotional or like personal song is track 5. And this one, it kind of reminds me of like the Archer from Lover, where it's like it's sad because it's like so introspective. Like how I relate to it is that like heartbreak from like a guy is one thing, but it's like another thing to kind of break your own heart. And it's kind of like she's looking at all the times like she broke her, like she was like too hard on herself, and like it's like her looking back at all her past like younger selves and telling her that it's gonna be okay. So like the beginning of the song is like it's like that first album, right? It's like Teardrops on My Guitar, where she like put everything like in a guy, and she hated everything, but she thought as long as this one guy likes me, like I'll be okay. And it turns out like that he didn't like her back, and she thought her world was over. And then she started her music career, and like that second verse, she talks about like singing in the parking lot, and how like she wanted to run away from her town, like make music her thing. But then once she started making it, like she looked around and saw everyone with better bodies that had like the same dream as her, and she realized, okay, like maybe I'm not special, like everyone wants what I want, you know. And then it kind of like escalates to all the like the lessons she's learned as she like went into adulthood, and it all like builds up to like that bridge, and the bridge goes off like crazy, where it like I looked around in a blood-soaked gown and saw something that they can't take away. So it's like kind of like all that Reputation stuff, and God only knows like what else she might have like gone through other stuff too. But it's like now she like has Joe, or she like knows who she is as an artist. She's really confident, obviously, like in her art, and that she can sell, and that I think she's not boastful about it, but she knows that she's like the best like artist now. So it literally tells like her whole story, like as an artist.
I like it. And I see it.
I also want, it's almost like Adele too, where like Adele's last album, 30, was very much about like her going to therapy and like, you know, being like, I'm 30 now and this is how I feel. And like, I was singing about this stuff, like the same thing we're saying with Taylor. And I love it because at the end of the day, Taylor has to like hold herself, and like you have to be whole on your own. Like she couldn't let Joe love her if she wasn't loving herself.
Yeah.
And so she finally loves herself, knows she's a bad bitch, and like she's on her own, I think.
She's on her own, kid.
I love Midnights a lot. The next track.
Midnight Rain.
What's it about?
Yes.
Midnight
so
Rain.
good.
Midnight Rain. I just like the cool vibe to it. I like that weird man's voice. Who is the weird man?
I think it's just her.
No.
I'm sure it's just a toned down version.
I think it's just like a vocoder. Yeah.
No.
Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I can't even like listen to this song. Oh, yeah, that's her pitched down.
We should do
Really?
Yeah.
We changed like that part. That's her.
Yeah, I thought that was like, dude, stop. Thanks for the revelation.
You're welcome.
That is so funny.
I love her line, "My boy was a montage."
Yeah, slow motion.
God, the lyrics of Midnight Rain are one of the best on that whole.
Who is she talking about?
I could definitely be wrong. My theory is Taylor Lautner because of how
Wait, that's so weird
really?
that you said that because I thought that too, and I was like, it can't be Taylor Lautner. Come on now. I thought that she had no attachment to him.
Because like we said, like she's going back to like looking back at all of the past stuff, and she had someone who was like, that's like the one guy she's saying about where she like broke his heart. And I think the big line to me, I mean, besides like that overall like vibe of like being the one to break something off, but like making my own name, I feel like that's like a double entendre almost.
Yes, Taylor, like making my own. God, Oscar, this is why we love you.
That's the first thing I thought of.
Facts. I mean, not facts, theories.
So I'm like so excited to hear that you also think it's about Taylor
I thought
Lautner.
It was crazy.
Yes.
I because I don't like. I kept that one to I keep the theories to myself because there's so many now, and like people are so like aggro about it. So I'm just like, you know, so I didn't tweet about it because Twitter is like wild. But that like the first time I listened to it,
doesn't every person have that person in their life that like you wish that you could have had great love with, but like you just never felt that way about them? You were like, oh, they had this and they had that, and it was like there was like chemistry, but there wasn't enough attraction. There's like something, right? And I think that's Taylor.
You literally,
well, I mean, Taylor is adorable in every single way.
This is totally him. Now I'm looking at the lyrics again, it's just totally him. And she never thinks of him unless it's Midnights Like This. Like
he never thinks of her except when she's on TV.
And he has like that. Now. He has like
he's got his own Taylor now. He's got another Taylor.
Yeah. And I love when she says, except on Midnights Like This. I love the name of the album. I think this is my favorite name of an album she's ever read. And I liked Fearless, but like Midnights is so cool because it symbolizes so much. Like when you're up at night thinking about things at midnight, or things feel a little deeper or more emotional at that time. But Ashley, what you were saying, like my favorite Taylor songs are the ones when they're about that. Like if only this was different, you know, or in another lifetime. Kind of sentiment. Yeah.
Okay, so Question is the next song. And this
one of my favorite stuff is about.
Not about Carly Kloss.
It's not?
There's no way it's not.
What do you mean? Oh, there's no way it's not. Okay.
So we're starting off.
Oscar, take it over.
Oh, I was going to say, we're starting off literally good girl, sad boy. I think she's talking about Carly. And sad boy would be Maddie Healy because she kissed her at a Maddie Healy concert, or a 1975 concert. Big city. It was in New York. Wrong choices. They were all drunk. And then it keeps going on and on and on. And there is no way it's not. So Oscar, what do you think?
See, I have like a Haler, like Haler was a very important time of my life because like Taylor is like my sister and Harry was my crush at the time. So for me, it's like, I can't date Harry Styles, but Taylor is, and by proxy, like that's my sister, so I kind of am in the relationship almost. Like I play a part in it. So that's how I viewed it, because I knew it wasn't like a girl who had a chance with him, you know? So I loved Taylor, like the photos of them like at the Central Park Zoo. I can just think of it right now. Like I
could see it. She was wearing a dress, right?
No, she was wearing the sweater, the fox sweater. Hair in a ponytail. Yeah. So to me, I instantly thought of Harry Styles because have you ever kissed somebody in a crowded room? And there's that video in New York, but also it begins with "I Remember," which is similar to "Out of the Woods," and "Out of the Woods" was about Harry Styles, like so specifically, because it is like it's really odd, like how like similar like the "I Remembers" are. Like I feel like that has to be on purpose. But I do, now that you said the Carly Kloss, I could see that. Although I'm not a Gaylor, like I personally am not a Gaylor, but I could see it.
I could see it. I don't think it's necessarily true, but like it's just very obvious to me that it could be her. But it's maybe because I went into it thinking about them, you know. But if I went into it thinking about Harry Styles, then I could totally see that too.
Yeah. It's all perception. This is my favorite song on the album.
Yeah, I think this is one of my favorites.
Is that crazy? Yeah. I love the line. Like, I remember when you first hear it and you're not fully into all the lyrics. You're just like, okay, I want to see how this sounds. And when she said, have you ever kissed someone in, the middle of a crowded room? I was like, oh, that line is just so good. It's so Taylor. I love this song so much.
By the way.
So what I need to, can we Karma and Vigilante shit, can we put them together right now? Because I almost feel like they're like the same theme.
Yes, put them together.
Okay. Vigilante, obviously, it's like just so obvious. It's still about like the reputation stuff. Kim, Kanye, mostly Kanye at this point. She can't get over doing it. She just loves it.
I think also that's the thing too, is like, it could also be Scooter Braun because he also got a divorce.
Oh yeah,
which
right.
I think is funny. The fact that that's my mother right there, because she's like making fun of like the wife leaving him. Just Scooter Braun and Kanye both got divorces like around the same time. So I feel like maybe more so Scooter Braun. I feel like she wouldn't talk to Kim, but I feel like maybe she would talk to Scooter's ex-wife.
I wish that she would talk to Kim, guys. This is my dream. This is my celebrity couple dream or friendship that could emerge because Kanye's out of the picture, is a reconciliation between Kim.
I think we'll see it if Katie
and them taking over and being like, fuck you, Kanye.
Yeah, I think if Katie and Taylor can come together, I think
there's hope. Yeah.
Katy Perry.
Yeah.
I don't know. This was worse.
All I have to say about these songs they're my least favorite. I don't like anything that sounds like Reputation.
Really?
Reputation is my least favorite album. I don't resonate. It's like, I think of Taylor as a director. You know how there's like movie directors and sometimes they direct different things. The most I resonate with Taylor when she's like country and lovey and this guy and stuff. When she's talking about other things, it's great. It's just not for me. Like, I don't care as much and I don't love the sound as much from her.
I love it.
Oscar and I love the vengeful shit.
I know. You guys are just like bad little bitches.
Yeah, you love vengeful Taylor. I don't like it.
Can I just say, like, when the song starts and she's like, draw a cat eye sharp enough to kill a man or whatever the fuck it is. I feel almost secondhand embarrassment because it's kind of embarrassing. I don't know.
Lauren and I feel the same thing. Like, it's like cringe because I think Taylor at her core just isn't.
Because she's not that. Yeah.
Or our perception of her. I don't know her as a real human.
I think I am that. Like, I am not. Like, at my core, I am not really like that at all. But sometimes I like want to be. Like sometimes that's how I imagine.
That's why Oscar and I love this, because we feel Taylor's awkwardness, because like we are like her. We're just like, this would never naturally come out of me. So let my alter ego take forward, which it'll never come out coolly.
Yeah, and Lauren and I are like, it's an alter ego. Like, just say you hate someone.
Man.
Yeah. Or like stick to loving and I don't know. No, she can do whatever she wants. I would never tell her to stick to anything. Yeah, she could do it.
I mean, I did see that this is just basically all about Kim. And that's...
Karma definitely is more so, I feel like, about Kim.
So Bejeweled, because you guys love that one. I have nothing to say about Bejeweled, really. It doesn't strike me, but I think a lot of people like it.
I resonate with every single lyric. Basically, when you're in a relationship for so long... and you've kind of lost, like, you kind of feel like, oh, am I hot anymore? Am I, like, I'm so stagnant?
Oh, this is why I don't relate to it.
Exactly. It's like, I can still...
This is the lame song, Lauren. This is our Lizzie Moore, Ashley Lauren group song, where it's truly about like, oh my God, did I lose my sparkle? Did I lose everything that's ever made me interesting?
Yes.
If I go to a concert, am I going to feel like the hot girl again?
But then you literally, like when we went to that wedding in New York and I put on my black dress and I felt really good and I felt like, oh my God, I can still pull this off if I want to. And like, you kind of have that confidence put back in you. And I was like, I feel every fucking word. And there was one that was like, wait, hold on. Oh wait, sorry, I'm on Karma. Hold on.
And when I meet the band, they ask, do you have a man? And I can still say I don't remember. Yeah, this is why I don't resonate. I'm single.
Yeah, it's like, I don't remember, but like the band wants to know, blah, 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 blah. So.
I'm like, no, girl, I never had a man.
And also, it's fun. Like, it sounds good. It sounds good. It's fun. I feel every lyric. It's amazing.
Same.
Yeah. Love. Okay, so Mastermind, of course.
Wait,
I love
sorry,
Mastermind
Oscar, did you have anything to say about Bejeweled?
Literally same. The only thing I have to say is that it's laced with something because I cannot. It's like so addictive, and it gives me a high.
Gives me such a high. I like roll the windows down, and I'm like, oh, like I'm so much
Best believe
I'm not trash. Yeah.
That was the song that when I was listening to for the first time, I was like, oh yeah, fuck
yeah,
this
is it. Yeah.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp.
Okay, so maybe you're someone who listens to Taylor's music to get through something that's really hard, right? And it is definite. Listening to albums and knowing that there are other people out there that relate to you is for sure a form of therapy for me. But it doesn't replace real therapy and real looking within yourself, kind of like Taylor reflects on in her song, You're on Your Own, Kid. I really feel like that's true. Like we are on our own and it's up to us to make sure that we love ourselves and we feel full. And life just doesn't come with a user manual. So when it's not working out for you, sometimes you feel stuck. And I think it's important to take your brain and your mental health to the doctor as much as it's important to take your physical body to the doctor. So if you've never done therapy, I highly recommend BetterHelp. Or if you're looking for a therapist because you're not happy with yours, you want to try it out. It's this huge, it's like the world's largest therapy service. They've matched 3 million people professionally. They've matched 3 million people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists, and they are available 100% online. Plus, it's affordable. And then Ashley, tell them the only thing they have to do.
Oh, it's the easiest thing. So you just fill out this brief questionnaire and it's going to match you with a therapist. And again, if things aren't clicking with that therapist, you can easily switch to a new therapist at any time. Couldn't be more simple. Don't worry. No feelings are going to get hurt. No waiting rooms, no traffic, and no endless searching for the right therapist. And now you can save 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/getit. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/getit.
Everyone, get out your notes. We're going to be skipping a couple songs.
Okay, go ahead, Ashley. Mastermind.
Who is Mastermind about manifesting? Which guy?
I think
Is it Joe?
I 100% think Joe.
Yeah.
I think
Alwyn, right? There's multiple Joes in her life.
That's true. Yeah.
No, yeah, sorry. We've skipped over Joe Jonas. They're just friends now. She feels silly.
It doesn't mean a song can't be about them, you know?
But I think that it's, especially with the way that her and Joe got together when it was like kind of like that complicated time of Calvin, Tom Hiddleston, you know, Joe, it kind of makes sense. But also I think she's having fun with the like Easter egg things and all like the stands going crazy with like the theories and stuff. Like, I think she's also playing into that a bit too. I think it's like a little bit, she's bragging about Joe, she's bragging to us. Like she'd be planning stuff.
Okay. Well, then I'm looking at the track list and I skip over Great War, The Great World. That is my least favorite song on the album.
What? Great War is such an incredible piece
so
of music.
Good.
Wait,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Really?
Oscar, talk about the Great War.
Oh, I love it.
Okay, fine.
First of all, I know that there's like a big historical thing about like the World War I and like she makes a lot of like historical references. Listen, I'm not a historian, so I can't give you any of that. But the whole thing about, I think the freaking lyrics where she talks about like her bruises being violet, like the way that she describes that, it's so good. Like the whole idea of like this like conflict between her, probably about Joe, being like a war and like going back to like head to head, like not having that peace. And when she talks about maybe it was like the insecurities, thinking that he was like flirting with someone else, and like there was like no way that they can make peace because she had that like insecurity. Oh, I love it. And then it goes into the bridge where she talks about where she just like makes peace with it and like they lay the weapons down and her relationship was better because of it. That's amazing to me. It was so good.
Yeah, it's really because I need a fucking history book for this song, I swear.
But it's incredible how she's able to weave things like that into her own love story. They're allegories, which is why it's like a marvel, even if you don't enjoy the song, to like look at, you know.
I'll have to go back and re-listen to it. I feel like I'm missing out on greatness here. Pun intended. The two songs that, while looking at the track list, I'm really most excited to talk about is Bigger Than the Whole Sky and High Infidelity.
High Infidelity.
So Bigger Than the Whole Sky. This feels so nostalgic to me. It's like it's very visual, and I've got to know what's it about.
This song is like, it's so sad. I listen to this song the least just because it's so sad.
It's sad.
It's so sad.
Melancholy.
And
Melancholy for the fucking.
I said it, Lauren. I said melancholy.
Okay.
I said it for the correct.
We're gonna replay. We're gonna replay
melancholy. Go ahead.
You guys are
there's a lot of articles about how it's like a song about miscarriage, which I couldn't. It makes me too sad.
Really sad.
I know, and it's like I couldn't I don't even I couldn't even speculate about that because it's like so personal. But I feel like, which I do understand that.
Oh my gosh.
I understand that analysis of the song for sure, and I think that it could. If it is about that, it doesn't have to be her. It could be her, a friend or someone she knows. Because there's a lot of songs that she All I Speak Now was written from where she talked to someone and got inspired by someone else's life. But I think that makes sense though for the lyrics, and it's just.
I remember this song she sang to her mom.
Oh my gosh! Oh my goodness gracious!
It's this. Yeah, it's always that song where I listen to it and I'm like,
you'll
There's
get better.
One that's heartbreaking.
High Infidelity is also. I love it just as much as Question, and I think those are my favorites.
Yeah.
I want to hear all Oscar's thoughts on High Infidelity.
So good.
This one too. I mean, this is kind of like the ghetto. Is this the Getaway Car song that you were thinking about, Lauren?
Correct. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, it 100% gives me that vibes, and looking back at it differently. And I love that Calvin Harris was her most public relationship, and that he's the one guy that does not get a real song, does not get a song.
I know. Yeah, Ashley and I were saying that it was our longest relationship with the least amount of songs.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah, and she's just trying to escape him in all those songs, Getaway Car.
Yeah, Put On Your Headphones is and he's a freaking DJ. It's so funny. I love how she looks back.
But who do we think that the cheat is with? Because we always think it's with Tom Hiddleston is who we always think the cheat is with, but in this case, met October 29th? I mean, April 29th?
29th.
What happened that day?
Yes, we must.
Oscar, where were you? Where was Taylor?
Oscar.
Well, isn't the Met Gala, what is it, the first?
It's always the first Monday in May. But last year, it was in September.
But this would have been
because of the pandemic.
This would have been the bleach hair, so that does align up with Tom. If she already,
she probably met a pre-party or something, a hotel or something before.
Can I just say that I've met Tom? I've interviewed him once, and I've met him in person after that interview. And man, do they make sense?
Really?
And I've never met Taylor, but I don't know. I was like, holy shit! I just. Being a fan of Taylor and listening to her music and then meeting this amazing, incredible, man with this accent and that, you know what I mean? I'm I could feel the spark of them meeting in just meeting him. And I'm kind of sad they're not together.
That was my least favorite. Actually, Calvin Harris was my least favorite, but Tom was my second least favorite. That was the one I was
But I think it's because you don't know much about Tom, Oscar. I think if you met him and you knew him, I think they actually make the most sense. They make more sense to me than her and Joe. But again, I don't know much about Joe.
Yeah. I think we were all just kind of uncomfortable with it all because we were like, Calvin Harris doesn't really make sense. But then we were also kind of like, oh, this is a whirlwind 2-week romance sort of thing that we knew wasn't going to be anything. So then we didn't get time to like it really.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm stuck on the Bigger Than the Whole Sky being about marriage. I mean, being about miscarriage. I'm
Wait,
I'm so stuck.
Really?
My heart is heavy.
Gosh, that sucks. Well, let's talk about Paris to lift your heart. Is that about
Paris.
Joe?
That's my least. I take that back. Paris is my least favorite song. Paris is a silly song.
It's silly.
Is it about Joe though?
I think so, right? Because it's like it's kind of like similar to Lavender Haze, where it's like not really caring about anything anyone's saying because like you're so just like in the present moment with like your current relationship. The only thing, it's so silly. I like it a lot. The one thing that gets me pulls me out of it is like sitting in the shade, and not the kind that's thrown. I mean, sitting under where a tree has grown. I was like, Taylor, be serious. Like that was she was being really unserious when she wrote that. But I mean, that's her. That really is her.
That is her.
Okay, Glitch and would've, could've, should've.
Would've, could've, should've. I love
would've, could've,
should've. It's like
I'm so confused why she says woulda, coulda, shoulda so much in Bigger Than the Whole Sky, and then names this other song, you know, woulda, coulda. Yeah, well, something weird just happened to my computer.
You sounded great. Oscar, what do you think? Is there a connection there?
I don't know. I feel like, to me, it's like so I don't know. This one is like so obvious, like John Mayer vibes. And I also know that like how she gets when she writes is sometimes she likes the idea of a lyric and then she'll just like use that. And I think especially with these being like the bonus tracks, I mean, that's kind of like the vibe I get is that like he likes the phrase and then wanted to use it, you know, and then kind of had like the 2 songs that used it, but then she put it on the 3 a.m. version as like the bonus tracks. That's kind of the vibe.
A bonus song. I love that. I don't know why it would be bonus. I guess it doesn't matter. Usually all the bonus ones are bops.
Yeah, what do you mean? Clean was like the most iconic bonus we've ever gotten.
Wasn't Clean the last song on the album? The last song on the album.
It was the last, but it was an extra, right? Wasn't it a bonus?
The extra was like New Romantics.
Oh, for some reason, because it was at the end, I thought of it in that way, I think.
But I mean, it's also like the vault songs. Like, there's a lot of really good vault songs, and she makes those singles. So I think she kind of just threw it out there. But I mean, this is like it doesn't really fit on the album almost, but it kind of reminds me more like sonically of like Evermore. But it's so good. Like the lyrics are like the way that she's looking back at this relationship. Absolutely insane. And every time I listen to it, I'm always like, shit, like she has these lines and like they're so pointed and like so visceral that like every time I listen to it, I'm like, holy crap, like this should definitely have been like on like the main like 13 because it's that good.
Okay, what lyric is like specifically speaking to your soul?
I love like give me back my girlhood, it was mine first.
Oh my god, when I was reading that, I was like reading the lyrics as I was singing, goosebumps all over my body. Holy crap, it's so good. And then also when she just says, in the God's honest truth, the pain was heaven. Fuck yeah, it was. The pain is heaven.
Yes, the pain is often heaven. Yeah, pain is often that's heaven. Like that could be like the lyric of this whole podcast.
The pain is heaven.
The pain was heaven.
Pain was heaven. I love very poetic, my friends.
And then when she goes into like when she says like the tomb won't close, and then she rhymes it with like the wound won't close.
Yes.
Oh my god! Like she went off on this album, and I hope John Mayer never has a day of peace again.
I was gonna say John Mayer wrecked her soul still to this day, but I think he's the one that made her a woman. Like
he's
everything changed.
So many people's souls.
Yeah.
Like it's wild, actually. According to them, not according to John.
But I guess, how do we differentiate Jake to John in lyrics?
I think because Dear John was like so specific, like, don't you think 19's too young?
Yeah, that's like the most shade she's ever thrown at anyone.
Yeah.
Even over All Too Well. Because All Too Well was more like, I'm
it's subtle.
hurt by this. Yeah.
Now, was John Mayer and Jake Gyllenhaal, like, was she both 19?
They were
close.
Yeah, really close.
Jake was afterward.
Jake was afterward.
Yeah, I think Taylor might have been like 20, but like because
2021.
Yeah, because Jake was right after Speak Now came out, and then Jake inspired Speak Now.
Yeah.
You mean Jake inspired
Red?
I mean John inspired Speak Now.
John inspired, and Jake inspired more Red with Harry.
With now.
Oh, an older woman. She's like older.
Oh.
Yeah.
Finally.
Oh, yeah.
Damn, Oscar shady. Okay, last song, Dear Reader. Oscar, take it away.
I love this song. So it's like, it took me a second to like really understand it because like the Dear Reader part is so like repetitive, but it's like the perfect way to like end this album because it's like literally just like it's like a love letter to like the fans. And it kind of ties back into Antihero with like the whole like inner demons and like self-doubt thing. Like, she knows like how much people like look up to her and people like use her as like a role model, but she's basically saying like, why would you take your advice from me when I'm like a fucking mess? Like, you really shouldn't be listening to me.
Yeah.
Samantha Jones. It's like the blind leading the blind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just like it all like builds up to like that bridge, and it almost feels like how she thought about herself, like Reputation vibes, like kind of like bruised, battered, like broken, like not really like just questioning her self-worth. And she talks about like going home alone, like, you know, she's someone who's known for writing love songs, but she was so alone, like she had no one to go back to, like when she was at the end of the day. So it's just like that song is just like, it's like the perfect like way to end Midnights, you know?
Yeah. What do you think? That was such a beautiful breakdown. Do you guys have thoughts on Dear Readers?
Not particularly.
I don't have many.
Usually don't have that much time left in the car at this point when I get to the end of the album, so I'm able to
the
listen
song I've
once or
listened to
twice,
least. My friend, I keep referring to my cryptic friend. She thinks that she came up, like, the inspiration to this album was her going back and like re-recording the other albums and feeling those eras of her life so intensely that she was inspired to write separate songs about those eras. What do you think? Do you think the re-records has anything to do with it?
I love that theory and I like subscribe.
Same. That's
so
like
good.
literally the exact same thing that I think of too. Because like, there's no way that you could like, especially knowing the way that she like thinks about her music. Like, she said when she would perform All Too Well, like even though it was years after, like every time she performed it, she would cry for like a really long time because she like the way that she sings, she has to put herself back in that moment. So I think like doing these re-recordings and then also doing the vault songs for sure, like it has to put you back in like that state of like where you were at that time, you know, and it has to, there's no way you couldn't like reflect on your life when you're singing these songs that are about such a specific like moment, you know.
I love what you said, that she cried after All Too Well, because she is, if you think about it, quite literally the most vulnerable, the most like hard on your sleeve, like this is who I am, and to share it with the world and to admit it and for people to know who she dated, like it is so like bearing your soul to sing these songs as her.
I wouldn't be able to get through any of the songs.
Yeah, I'm saying.
So we applaud you, Taylor. All right, well, thanks for listening to our Taylor Swift breakdown. Once again, let us know what you thought, if we missed any little Easter eggs, I guess, to the songs.
I think we should wrap up this podcast by quickly naming the top 4. Oh, I don't know. Never mind. Maybe this is a bad idea. I was going to say our top 4 Taylor albums.
What? I can't think. I need a fucking notebook. I need a.
I don't. Mine are Speak Now, Red, Folklore.
1989.
For me, Speak Now,
Red. I fucking love Fearless.
I think Reputation, and then Speak Now, 1989, Red, and Reputation. So it's like those consecutive ones. Do.
Mine is, and this is such an unpopular opinion, and I'm not saying it's her best, Lover, because the half of Lover that I love is I love so much.
I agree with you, yeah.
Lover, Reputation, Speak Now. I would say Red, but Midnights is really
okay. I could see Midnights and Red being, I don't know, Red is just such a...
I know.
I don't know, guys, this is really hard, but I just know 1989, Red, and... Wait, what album was Clean on?
1989.
That was 1989.
Oh, okay. 1989, Red. I almost want to say this one and Speak Now. Okay. Thank you all.
Love it.
All right.
Great
Okay.
job,
Fantastic.
guys.
Yay.
Yay. Oscar, we love you. We
it's
love
a
Taylor.
pleasure always.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
I'm
you.
always-
Miss you. Bye.
Bye, friends.
Bye.
I don't get it.
Podcast.